One of the comments I get quite a bit as a counsellor is how we are seen as happiness experts, that nothing really seems to faze us, and that we're always really positive, and we always have this ability to show empathy and not be held down by our problems and not be stuck or held back. And I've got to tell you, that's just not true. Certainly from my case, I have those inner thoughts that I'm not good enough, that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not worth anything. I get anxious, I feel drained, I feel like I'm not getting the balance of my life right. I spend a lot of my time thinking about it, and I spend a lot of my time challenging myself and exposing myself to those thoughts and things that I perhaps find quite difficult to deal with and do drag me down. Whether it's a thought or whether it's an emotion I feel that I don't know why I'm feeling quite low, I'm always thinking about it and exposing myself to it and confronting it rather than running away from it or ignoring it. There are things that you can do to help you feel better or to overcome a challenge. And in this video, I want to go through a journal that helps you to ask some of these questions and remind yourself just how much you're really worth. Before we get into it, I'm Desh, I'm a qualified counsellor, and my videos are intended to help support you through your own mental health journey and to raise and develop self-awareness. And one of the ways I want to do that in this video is go through a journal exercise. So let's get into it. So in this journal, I've selected questions that are more focused about my own sense of worth and my internal beliefs, because this is one of the areas of my life that I felt particularly challenged by. I know a lot of my clients also feel challenged by these areas because they relate to your sense of self, your self-worth, and it's also linked with people pleasing. Now, I like to always start my journal with what I'm grateful for. This puts you in a positive frame of mind, not a wishy-washy frame of mind or an unrealistic one. It forces you to think about, despite what struggles you're currently going through, what is it in your life you are grateful for? What is serving you? What is providing you with that sense of worth, love, warmth, connection, whatever it is? And so for me, the thing I'm always grateful for is my health and my family. Those two aspects for me are my core. They are my anchor. Without them, nothing else matters. So a good way to think about what you're grateful for is, if those things stopped, how would I feel? Would anything else matter? And in my case, if my health goes, or this issue of my family, everything else that I want to achieve, if it's growing my business, preparing, seeing clients, whatever it is, preparing and growing and learning, none of that matters if these two things are not there. So I'm always grateful for my health and my family. Then I move into what would make today great. What is it that would make today great? In this case, it's, filming a YouTube video, which I'm doing at the moment. But I'm trying to expand that so it's not so focused on one thing. So to be honest, it's making time for myself and to walk, because that for me is where I feel really connected with not just nature but myself. I've become more in tune with my body, how I'm feeling, and it's an opportunity for me to relax when I go for a walk and have that space where I can step away from the screen or step away from my work and things that are causing stress. I can just have that space for myself. And the one thing I must accomplish today, going for the walk, that's it. I'm filming this video now. I'm planning afterwards to have some lunch and then go for my walk. I must accomplish that because I know it's going to make me feel good. You want to accomplish something that's going to make you feel good. Whether you're feeling productive, whether you felt that you've learned something, whether you felt accomplished, you want to feel a positive reward in exchange for what you're doing. So in my case, it's going for a walk and just giving myself the space. So now we're going to go into the real body of the journal. And so here I've kind of put them into 3 separate sections. So there may be some of these questions that resonate with you. The first is relating to negative talk. When I criticize myself, what specific thoughts do I have? Are these criticisms based on facts, or are they my personal assumptions? Where did these thoughts come from? What thoughts am I avoiding, which may benefit me more? How are these thoughts sabotaging me? So you can see I'm asking a lot of questions that delves into what is it about the way I think and my beliefs that are hurting me, that are going against me. And so this is an important thing to ask yourself, because when you ask yourself that question, it helps you to kind of stop in the moment. You interrupt that pattern of negative thinking when you ask yourself these questions. Because like, wait a minute, hold on. Let's stop what we're doing. What is happening? Why am I thinking the way I am? So what specific thoughts do I have? For me, it's like, I am not doing enough. I need to work harder in order to feel better. And that in itself is a bit of an odd thought. It kind of makes sense because you want to make sure that you're productive, you're working towards your goals. And of course, if you're working towards your goals, you're going to feel better about the progress you're making. But I need to work harder in order to feel better. So if I rest, I feel my sense of worth is lower. Which is sad, isn't it? Now, maybe I'm trying to work myself to the point where I can be accomplished and have the goals that I want in order for me to be able to afford to rest, and then I'll feel better about myself. But currently, that's not how I'm feeling. Are they personal assumptions? Yes, these are personal assumptions. And how do I know that? Let me tell you. Who says you have to work harder in order to feel better? That voice you have, where's that coming from? Is someone in your environment telling you that currently? Because this voice for me is coming from within. No one's telling me. If I stop working, no one is saying to me you're being lazy. And if I keep working, no one is saying to me you're doing a good job. This voice is all coming from within. So we have to explore where that inner voice is coming from. And it is the conditioning from my past. All I heard from my past is you've got to revise, you've got to get good grades, you've got to make sure that you hit these goals, you have this status. And they never said, if you don't, you're worthless. But that's the implication. You have to. There's always this push. You have to do this, you have to do that. Rather than you are enough now. It's okay. You can choose to do that if you want, but you don't have to. So for me, the inner voice of critique came from prior conditioning, where I was made to feel that I needed to work in order to feel adequate, normal, not bad about myself. And so it's remarkable how the messages you receive in your environment really do play a strong role in how you perceive the world. But you can change that, but it has to come from you. That change has to come from you. What thoughts am I avoiding that would benefit me more? Well, I am doing enough. I am enough. Because if I choose to work towards my goals, I can do that. If I choose to rest and do nothing, I can do that. If I choose to decide not to be a counselor anymore, go down a different career path, I know I can do that. I trust in myself to do what I set out to do. The question is, where is that life direction coming from? Who is deciding what I want to do? Is it from me, or is it I'm trying to please someone else who said I had to go down a different path? So you can see by doing this journal exercise so far just how many questions are coming to me. And in terms of how the thoughts are sabotaging me, maybe they're holding me back. It's possible to achieve what you want, but enjoy the process along the way and feel good about yourself. That is a possibility. You don't have to feel bad about yourself or inadequate. Now, feeling inadequate might be a driver. It might drive you and motivate you to do these things, but it doesn't mean that you can only achieve success and be miserable doing it. The pursuit of the goal leads to rewards, because pursuing goals is more rewarding than obtaining the goal itself. Because you notice when you obtain a goal, you reach a goal, that excitement eventually drops off. But in working towards that, there's that real satisfaction that comes with that, because you're activating the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, a region of the brain that is triggered by things where you're building resilience and you're working towards something. So there is a reward system there in your brain that helps you to strive towards goals. You don't need to necessarily, be happy when you reach a goal. The working itself is the reward. So if I know that I can feel good while striving towards a goal, why am I feeling so miserable? And it's because of these thoughts that are sabotaging me. So I have to understand, I have to perceive my current thoughts as obstacles to me experiencing joy in the moment. The thoughts of being self-critical, that you're not enough. It's important that you remind yourself of that. And I'm hoping that I'm reminding you, if these are the thoughts that you're having as well, that you do not need to listen to those thoughts, because you need to understand where they came from. They're not you. You're thinking of them, but they're not you. What limiting beliefs do I hold about my worth or abilities? What would happen if I replace the beliefs with more empowering ones? And this is linked to thinking more positively. You have to think more positively, because the quality of your life is determined by what you focus on. The negative's always there as well as the positive. If you've always got these negative thoughts in your mind, then your experience of life is going to be just that. Whereas you need to think more positively. What am I capable of? What can I achieve? You have to start rewiring and changing your perception of the negative thoughts you have. Now, if you're using that as drive, that's fine, but at some point you may burn out. You need to start looking at what is it I can do. And if you cannot point to anything in your life that you've done that you can be proud of, you can start small today. This is the power you have. This is the ability you have. And so that's why these journals are useful, because they allow you to be curious about yourself and explore what's really going on for you. What limiting beliefs do I have about my worth? That I am not doing enough, and I do not have the knowledge or ability to get to where I want. So therefore, I always have this need to do things so I can feel good. But it's never enough. I do things towards my goals, but it's just never enough because it's not as big as I want it. Go from an outcomes mindset, which is the big thing you want to achieve. Go from that and shift to a doing mindset, regardless of the scale of the outcome. There may be the goal you want to achieve, and it might be this big thing. However, if you're constantly thinking about that big thing, anything you do in the day that works towards that is going to be small in comparison, and therefore you feel you've not done enough. So what you need to do is just to say to yourself, yes, there's this goal, but I'm not there yet. I've got to backwards engineer. Currently I'm here. I can't jump to where I want to be magically. I have to work my way towards there, and the things I'm doing are helping me to achieve that, and I can learn to enjoy that experience along the way. And the final section I want to touch upon is your external validation versus internal. How much of your sense of worth is tied to external validation, approvals you get from others, success, image, praise, and how much of your sense of validation comes from within? How much do I cultivate for myself? When I was a child, I used to rely on the approval of others, and that continued, and there are traces and remnants there. What I love about doing journaling is I can just be with myself. I'm filming this one obviously to show you the process, but you kind of become curious about what's happening within you, and there's no judgment, there's no one to point the finger. You can just be with yourself and kind of process what's happening. I have learned and am learning how to cultivate this for myself. How do you cultivate an internal sense of worth without having someone else saying you're doing a good job? Is you challenge your current beliefs and thoughts. Just because you think a thought doesn't mean it's genuinely you. Just because you think something or feel something doesn't mean it's part of you. It may be something you've learned to feel or think based on your environment and past. So it's crucial to do these exercises, to be more curious and really interested in yourself. Because how much of the time do you invest in other people, and how much do you really truly invest for yourself? So by developing your self-awareness, you can then take the steps needed in order to start crafting a life that's going to be more meaningful and more joyful for you. Whether you're doing this journal exercise, whether you're doing a meditation, just take some time for yourself where you have the opportunity to confront those aspects of yourself that you do not like or that are holding you back, so you can get to understand what's going on, to develop a relationship with yourself, and to equip yourself with the knowledge that's going to help you to move forward and to overcome that problem. Please comment below if you found this video useful, like and subscribe to this channel. There's going to be more videos coming out very soon.